Hello, I'm Simon Tutchener. I'm lighting designer for the Bootleg Beatles and have been since this time last year. And the different bit about this particular setup is we run all the video as well as lights from this thing. I found the M8 desk about 8 years ago in a theatre in Hamburg where I was lighting a musical called Oh What a Night, which was a British musical, and I specified a Diamond 3 and they couldn't do it. They said they just bought an MA1 and I said, that's fine, I'll need an operator, because I don't know at all. And indeed they supplied an operator. And I watched this thing and I thought to myself, this is a hog that I can use, because you can get at things and they're all in front of you. And I loved it so much, about 2 years later I bought one, full size, and toured it around for about 3 years and rented it to people. And then through certain circumstances managed to sell it at a profit after 3 years, and then of course that was just as they were bringing out the 2, and once you've found your way into that, and it's not difficult, the thing's just great. I love it to death. That took a bit of getting used to, and it was okay on this tour last year because I had Pepper with me, and then we did a tour in March and again I had Pepper with me, and then we got into some one-offs, some bits and pieces where suddenly I was on my own and I was totally out of my depth with the whole catalyst and projector thing, because if it didn't work first time when I turned it on, I was basically stuffed. So I suggested to Andre, in fact, that this was my frustration of this was simply because I hadn't been taught how to deal with all this stuff, and that would be the smart move forward. And indeed, it came to a head in the summer when we were in Denmark, and we had to hook Catalyst up to a couple of LED screens outdoors, and it turned into a drama. It really did, because when you hook this thing into LED screens, it's a different set of rules. And that brought the whole thing to a head, and to his credit, Andre organised for me to go with him, in fact, to Milton Keynes. We did a day training on Catalyst, and now I'm much more comfortable about the whole thing. I feel better about it, I know what's going on, and we run the whole thing, we throw it up, and Pepper knows all about it, I know about it, so one way or another we always, I'm not going to say we don't have chocolate anymore, let's ask him for it, but it's a smooth operation. I mean, that's an MA2 Lite that I've got out there, in that it only has 2 screens and 15 immediately accessible faders. You can add another bank of faders and another screen on the desk. That becomes the Grandma full size. But most people have gone for the Lite because it's the same software. If you know what you're doing, you can run around. So you would then naturally take a smaller version of that as backup. But I believe Entec came up with this idea of packaging the On-PC Wing as a standalone full-on system, so it will run an entire show for you. You plug the system into it and off it will go. If you've got that box filled up with an MPU or whatever, and off you can go. But that wing, take it out of that box, and I take that on our one-offs. I'll run the video from that wing and use whatever house desk there is for lights. If I'm using the in-house lighting system, which happens quite a bit with this, I'll use the in-house lighting desk and whatever it may be, and the in-house lighting system, and run our video, our catalyst, hopefully with our projector, just from that wing and my laptop. The first half of the show is very much the earlier Beatles, right from '63 onwards, and that's when they were playing theatres and cinemas and all this, and really just using what was in there, and certainly not carting anything around. And even when that started going, when Brian Croft, for instance, started carting lights around for the Stones back in 1960 something or other, it was lights straight out of the ICA. It was theatre lights, you know. And so what we do is, I've got a bunch of Source 4s up there as specials because we don't use follow spots. So I've got 19 Source 4s up there using on the front truss, and I run them in open tungsten. And I've got a bunch of clay packy washes, Sharpie washes, and I use those mostly on the early stuff in CTO, static, as if they were Fresnels basically. And then there's a costume change, and then there's another section which is brought a bit more up to date, and then there's a costume change and everything's a bit more up to date, finishing with Twist and Shout as an end to the first half. So, and as that works through, I start adding colour, just because that's pretty much, I guess, how it would have happened. You know, we've got red and blue, and then the second half starts with Sgt. Pepper, and we're into psychedelia and all this that and the other. So a bit of smoke in the atmosphere during the interval, some gobos, and start to get a bit more leery, you know. And obviously that really introduces the spots into the look. I've got 21 clay packy QWO 800s, which are a brilliant light that Entec bought. Well, Norman will tell you, but I think about 3 years ago. And I've got 14 active clay packy Sharpie washes, and they're perfect for this. They're not huge lamps, because we're very tight on space in the truck as well. It's another thing you have to think about, you know. But they're very versatile and very reliable. We got one underneath the drum riser with custom gobos on. It would probably be Yesterday, from a lighting point of view, because it's got a bit of drama to it, you know. I mean, there are some nice bits and pieces, and when I say surprise the audience, when we suddenly start ballyhooing the audience towards the end of Hey Jude. But I do like what we've done with Yesterday, just because it's such a different it's a complete different departure from anything that surrounds it, and it's in the first half, and suddenly that is a bunch of spots in Gerbo, on him and Mike, and then introducing backlit only the string section over on stage left, just as a little oasis in the middle of all this other thing that goes on. So I guess that would probably be one of them, yeah.